This guy, he was on Last Comic Standing after me. He's been on a lot of TV shows. You'll know the face as soon as you see it if you don't remember the name. He's on Better Late Than Never with Terry Bradshaw, Henry Winkler, George Foreman, William Shatner. He's been on Lip Sync Battle. I Can Do That. All kinds of stuff. You guys sit back and relax. My little Zoom interview with the very funny Jeff Dye. Take another look and tell me that. Jeff Dye, as I live and breathe. Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
It's good to see you, man. I am lonely in this pandy. You know, it's been boring.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw you was right before I moved out of Los Angeles. I was hiking in Runyon Canyon in Studio City?
Yeah, either Runyon or Fryman.
Fryman, that's it.
Yeah.
Fryman Canyon, and it was good to see you. I forgot how tall you were. I'm like, Jesus.
I know.
Yeah.
Big freak.
So, good to see you, man. So, yeah, you're all alone during this pandemic, huh?
Yeah, well, it's just like I'm supposed to not go out of the house, and they want you to stay inside. And I committed to that for about 4 days. And then since then, I've just been like, I'm doing what I want.
Right. That's the same here. I do have a mask that I will bring with me when I go places. And I'm like, I'll look in the door where I'm going. Like, if they're wearing it, I'll definitely take it. If they're not wearing it, I'll just have it in the back pocket. I just don't want to be messed with, you know?
Yeah.
But I have my own made because I have a merch guy like we all do. So I put my face on a mask. I don't know if you can see
Nice.
that. Yeah.
You know, I've seen yours. I've seen that mask.
Yeah.
And my buddy also has done that. He's a radio guy.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that you're like I like Jon Reep, but when I put that mask on, I don't look like that. Looks like a crazy version of you. That doesn't look like you at all.
That's true, and also it's not even accurate. Like the face is way zoomed in, and my my nose is like 8 times too big. I look like an orangutan or Harry from the Hendersons or whatever.
It looks like if you ran for office and they drew like some political cartoon of you where they like made your nose real big and like a big red beard and they're like, bozo Republican candidate Jon Reep. And he's like, hey, don't make fun of me.
Right. So what have you been doing, man? I know we can't really tour right now. Are you just stuck in L.A.? Are you doing auditions? Are you doing stand-up? What's happening?
I've been touring to places that don't take the pandemic as serious. So I've done Utah, I've done San Antonio, I did Phoenix, Arizona. This weekend I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. And then I've also just been doing a bunch of Zoom corporate shows. And I did a pop-up show in a park in San Diego on Friday. I wanted to ask you what you're doing out there, but I have another podcast. So I have 2 podcasts that I've been doing. One is the Jeff Dye's Friendship, which is on All Things Comedy. And then the other one's with ESPN and Apple, and it's me and Russell Wilson. And so me and Russ, we're co-hosting a podcast. And it's been awesome because Russ is very straight. He's very, playful but not, edgy, you know? And then he's also, the quarterback of the Seahawks. He's, a celebrity. And so I get to be the color guy, and he gets to be the straight guy. Right. And our first guest, episode 1, was Shaq, and so that's up right now.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
It's been great.
I am jealous of that. I'm a huge NFL guy. We could talk about the NFL for a second too. I had Russell Wilson as my fantasy quarterback for many, many years. He's always done well for me. And I love him because he also played 1 year at North Carolina State University and did really well there. So I've always loved and followed Russell Wilson, and now you're working with him. That's great.
Oh, he's the best. And he also, if you have him on your fantasy team this year, he had 4 touchdowns yesterday.
Yeah.
He was crushing it. The offense is looking fire.
So upset because this is the 1 year my fantasy league said, we're going to take a year off because we don't know what's going on with the NFL. You know, with the pandemic, with people protesting, we don't know what are the rules. Are we going to pick a player and then he decides not to play, or if he gets sick? So we just took a year off, and we're doing just a straight up pick'em league this year. But he went off, man, and that was fun to watch. My Panthers lost. Which is fine, but
so there's 2 things I will say about your Panthers.
Go ahead.
My favorite Carolina Panthers moment is, and I'm not saying this because what we're doing here, my favorite Carolina Panthers moment is comedian Jon Reep gets out on the field because he's friends with Sir Purr. Sir Purr invites Jon Reep onto the field knowing he's a silly guy and a celebrity, and Jon starts dancing with Sir Purr, and the security guard, who has no idea you know Sir Purr or you were invited on the field, ejects you pretty aggressively while you're going, hey man, I was invited out here, and they're like, yeah, right, smart ass. Like, that was the greatest moment.
I gotta tell you, I ran into the original Sir Purr one night randomly. For years, doing stand-up, traveling all over the country, doing radio in the morning, that video would pop up and they would talk about it, and I was like,
good.
yeah, it was awesome, it was great, so.
I'm a big mascot guy. I love
you'll love this story then. So the guy in the suit, I never knew who it was. Okay, I got kicked out. I just like the mascot. He's a panther. He's a fluffy big animal. I'm like, I want to go out there and dance with him, and. So for years, I never knew who this guy was. But I go on the radio, I'd be like, all right, I'm looking for whoever the Sir Purr was in 1995. I'm looking for you. I want to thank you for giving me my career and all this stuff, So years go by. I don't know him. No one can tell me who he is until I'm happening to do the Comedy Zone in Jacksonville, Florida. And their mascot is a jaguar. And the guy who does the morning show is the mascot, and
nice.
And he happens to know. I don't know how these mascots know each other, especially the cat ones. But it's a small
community.
Yeah. So the jaguar and the panther knew each other, and he said, "I got his number. His name is Tommy Donovan. I'll call him right now." And we called him on the show. And then Tommy Donovan came to one of my shows, and now we're like good friends. I mean, it's a circle. I love that. It's great.
Wait, so then I misunderstood the story. I thought that happened while you were a very successful stand-up comic.
No. I mean, that story's been told many different times, but it happened before I did stand-up. It is what made me want to do stand-up. I had been talking about doing stand-up, and I didn't have the confidence to get on stage, but then like months before that, I did stand-up, that moment happened. And all my buddies were like, dude, you just made, 50,000 people laugh without saying a word. At least go on stage and tell this story. And so
that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. But
because they told me, like, Sir Purr asked you to come.
He did.
That's so funny.
But he didn't know me. I mean, he just saw some kid dancing and the crowd loving it. And so he just waved me out there. He's like, come on out here, kid. And so my friends throw me over the fence, and I start dancing. And I never got to talk to him after that until years later.
Well, the reason I like mascots so much is because they're the us of their team. They're the comedian. They're the funniest. The mascots are hilarious.
Right.
And they're always coming up with gags to be that funny without being able to verbalize anything. Like, they're just so creative and cool. I also like them because players break our hearts. They get traded, they sign contracts, they get injured, they don't meet expectations. Dude, Sir Purr's never going to tear his ACL. Right. Sir Purr is never going to take a big contract to go play for Atlanta. Right. Like, the mascots are ours forever.
Right? If you want to watch the whole version, the entire episode, click on this little square right here. Or if you just want to subscribe and watch them later, click on that little bubble right there. And thank you.